I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog.stampwithelaine.com. With the run-up to Mothering Sunday here in the UK, I will be showcasing cards suitable for Mother's Day. It's also suitable as a generic card to cover all bases, and this stamp set called Friendship's Sweetest Thoughts is just perfect. You can add a Mother's Day sentiment to it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I've got mine in clear mount, but it's also available in wood mount. This is the card we've been making. This uses a standard card base. It measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. In metric, that's 14.85 centimetres by 21 centimetres and folded in half. I have a pink pirouette layer. This measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. That's 9.5 by 14 centimetres. And there's a whisper white piece that is cut the same size as the pink pirouette one. And I have a piece of whisper white scrap for stamping the little cart on. We need the Lots of Labels framelit dies, and it's the second largest one we need. The quilt top textured embossing folder, basic grey archival ink and pink pirouette, and wild wasabi, and a blender pen, a sponge dauber, and of course the Big Shot on magnetic platform, shimmer ribbon, which is free with a qualifying order of £45 from Celebration, and we're going to be using the grey one. I've mounted my stamps on an E, G and H block. First I'm going to stamp the little cart in basic grey archival ink. Bring in the magnetic platform base cutting plate, my cardstock, the second largest label die cutting plate, and I'm ready to run that through the Big Shot, so I'll do that off camera. Take my pirouette layer and just use the Big Shot platform base cutting plate, sandwich pink pirouette layer into the embossing folder, cutting plate, the folder with the cardstock sandwiched in between, a top cutting plate, and I'll go and run that through the Big Shot. Next I'm going to squeeze the lid onto the ink pad to pick up some ink in pink pirouette and wild wasabi, and pick up the ink and colour in the flowers. And I'll fast forward this. I'll set that aside while I stamp inside the card, and I think I'll do that in basic grey archival ink as well. Tombow glue on the back of this. Tombow on the back of the embossed piece as well. Centre it on the front of the card. Pop some dimensionals on the back. Pop that more or less in the centre of the card. I'm going to be stamping this sentiment here, and I want this in a different colour to the rest of the wording, so I'm going to use the Stamparatus to help me do that. Put my cardstock into the corner of the Stamparatus, put my magnet there, and I've placed the stamp so it's at the bottom of the paper so I can cut a strip and make a banner. Put a clear mount case underneath the platform so it makes it easier for me to ink. Block off the sentiment on this side while I ink up the small word here using a stamping spot. And then remember to remove the post-it note when you stamp. So that's not quite dark enough, so I'm going to stamp it again. Remove the post-it note, stamp again. I'll repeat it one more time to make sure that it's dark enough, because Pink Pirouette is really quite a light colour. So I'm going to clean that off with an absorber cloth, make sure it's dry, then I block off the beauty part and ink up the other portion of the stamp with archival basic grey ink. Remove the post-it note and stamp. Trim my banner. I think maybe cut it off there. Put it in the middle and then cut from either end toward the center to make the fishtail. Do the same on this side. Bring in the sponge dauber and I'm going to sponge the edges of this banner. Then I'll put a length of ribbon on here, so cut off a bit, and that roughly measures about 3.5 inches. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of adhesive on the back just to make sure that it sticks onto the card. I want this to lie flat, so I'll pop that on top because I've already got height from the dimensionals underneath the label. And for a finishing touch, I will put some pearls in the middle of the flowers. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you like it, do give me a thumbs up, subscribe or share on Facebook, and my grateful thanks if you do. If you're watching from YouTube, you'll find the list of supplies I use below this video in the Show More section with direct links to my online store. They'll be listed on my blog at blog.stampwithelaine.com, and you can also find me on Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll be back soon with another video tutorial.